Oh, hello little friend. We were discussing outer space, celestial bodies and a lot of other things, right? But we never discussed our home planet. So, which is our home planet? Yes, it's the Earth. It is estimated that life came to existence on Earth some 4.1 billion years ago. The presence of water, oxygen and favorable climatic conditions are the main factors that help life to thrive on Earth. Also, Earth is the only planet where water is present in all three forms, that is, as ice, water and steam. Now that's all for the facts section. Now, why don't we move on to our game? In this final session, to make the game more interesting, we will add a scoreboard. We'll also add a game over image to be shown when the space hero touches the enemy ship. Then we'll add a play button so that when we click on the play button, we'll be directed to the game screen. So, shall we start? We've come so far and we've finally reached the last session of the Spritesare game. So, let's end this last session with a bang. But before that, can you recollect what we learned in the previous session? In the last session, we added the defense tool for the space hero, bullets. We also added the bullets and coded to fire the bullets towards the enemy ships. If the enemy ship gets hit by the bullet, then the enemy ship should be destroyed. And if the enemy ship touches the space hero, then all the sprites should be destroyed. Wow, we learned so much in the last session. Now, let's move on to today's session. In most games and sports we play, we have a scoreboard. The scoreboard helps us build a positive competitive spirit within ourselves and inspires us to perform better the next time. Hey, I have an idea. Why don't we add a scoreboard to our game? Brilliant! Let's do it. To add this scoreboard, we first need a variable called score. For that, go to Variables, take a variable X block and attach it to the workspace. Rename X to enemy killed count and set the value on the right as 0. The score should increase each time the bullets touch the enemy ships. That is, if bullets is touching enemy ship 1, if bullets is touching enemy ship 2 and if bullets is touching enemy ship 3. The score should increase each time as we kill the enemy ships. For this, from variables, take the 𝗙𝗴𝗲𝗄 block and attach it under the if bullets is touching enemy ship 1 block. Rename X to enemy killed count and now go to math. Take the plus operator and attach it to the right side of the 𝗙𝗴𝗲𝗄 block. In the first blank, type in enemy killed count and in the second blank, give the value as 1. This way, the score should increase by 1 each time we kill enemy ship 1. Now let's do it for the second enemy ship. Go to Variables, take the 𝗙𝗴𝗲𝗄 block and attach it under the if bullets is touching enemy ship 2 block. Rename X to enemy killed count. Now go to math, take the plus operator and attach it on the right side of the 𝗙𝗴𝗲𝗄 block. In the first blank, type in enemy killed count and in the second blank, give the value as 1. And finally, for the third enemy ship, go to Variables, take the 𝗙𝗴𝗲𝗄 block and attach it under the if bullets is touching enemy ship 3 block. Rename X to enemy killed count. Now go to math, take the plus operator and attach it to the right side of the 𝑥=blank block. In the first blank, type in enemy killed count, and in the second blank, give the value as 1. Click on Run, and oops, the scoreboard is not visible. Let's make it appear on the screen. Wondering if it's magic? No, it's just simply coding. To display the scoreboard on the screen, go to Drawing, take the text string block, and attach it inside the function draw block. As we want the title score and the score number to be shown side by side, go to Math, take the plus operator, and attach it in the place of text. In the first blank, type in score. If you want the text to be shown on the screen, give the text in double inverted quotes. So enter score with double quotes. And in the second blank, type in enemy killed count. This way, the text score will be shown on the screen and the enemy killed count, that is the variable, will also be displayed. Time to set the position of the scoreboard. I'd like to see the scoreboard in the top left corner. For that, let's set the position in the text string block. Set the X position as 10 and Y position as 25. Click on Run, and the scoreboard is there, but it's not really visible, right? Let's edit it. To increase the font size, click on Drawing, take the text size block and attach it above the text string block. Give the value on the right as 20. Now to set the color, take the fill color block and attach it to the workspace. Since the color is already set to yellow as default, let's not change it. Click on Run, and look at that. The scoreboard is on the screen and the score is also increasing as we kill the enemy ships accordingly. The scoreboard doesn't look neat, does it? In order to make it more appealing, let's add a colon between the score and the enemy kill count. For that, click on the text block and after the score, add a colon. Click on Reset and Run. Perfect! The scoreboard looks more appealing now. We have almost come to the end of the game. Here, as the space hero touches the enemy ship, all the sprites are destroyed. Why don't we make the game more interesting? Have you seen the game over as an end image to most of the games? So let's add a game over image. Come to Animation and then click on the plus sign to the left. Choose the Draw Your Own option and then open a new tab. Search for Gaming Overfire PNG images. Click on Images and choose one which would suit the background. Click on the image and then right-click on it. From the options, choose Copy Image. Now come back to the Code.org tab. Click on the Move tool and paste the image on the screen using Ctrl+V. Resize the image to 400 by 561. Click on Import, then on OK. Close the pop-up, and yes, the image is on the screen. To remove the background from the Game Over image, click on the Paint All Pixels of the same color tool and then click on the color palette. Choose the Transparent option and then click on the background of the Game Over image. Rename the image to Game Over. Awesome! Now let's introduce the image to the game screen. For that, click on Code. From Sprites, take the variable sprite block and attach it to the workspace. Rename the sprite to Game Over. Take the sprite.setAnimation block and attach it below the variable Game Over block. Rename the sprite to 𝗙𝗃𝗲𝗏. Click on the drop down on the right and choose the option 𝗙𝗃𝗲𝗏. Run the code and whoa, the 𝗙𝗃𝗲𝗏 image looks huge. So, to resize the image, from sprites, take the sprite.scale block and attach it below the 𝗙𝗃𝗲𝗏.setAnimation block. Rename the sprite to 𝗙𝗃𝗲𝗏 and keep the value on the right as 0.4. Click on Run and yes, the image looks great. But as you can see, the 𝗙𝗃𝗲𝗏 image is visible from the start. We need it on the screen only when the space hero collides with an enemy ship. So, to remove it, from sprites, take the sprite.visible block and attach it below the 𝗙𝗃𝗲𝗏.scale block. Rename the sprite to 𝗙𝗃𝗲𝗏. If you want to turn the visibility off of the sprites, give the value as 0, and to make it visible, give the value on the right as 1. Since we need the visibility of the 𝗙𝗃𝗲𝗏 image off, give the value on the right as 0. Click on Run and yay! The 𝗙𝗃𝗲𝗏 image is now not visible on the screen. But it should be visible when the animation and the space hero collide. So scroll down and come to the If Enemy Ship Collide Space Hero blocks. Here, from sprites, take the sprite.visible block and attach it inside the If Enemy Ship 1 Collide Space Hero block. Rename the sprite to 𝗙𝗃𝗲𝗏 and give the value on the right as 1. Similarly, for the second spaceship also, take the sprite.visible block and attach it inside the If Enemy Ship 2 Collide Space Hero block. Rename the sprite to 𝗙𝗃𝗲𝗏 and give the value on the right as 1. Let's repeat the same for the third enemy ship also. Take the sprite.visible block and attach it inside the If Enemy Ship 3 Collide Space Hero block. Rename the sprite to 𝗙𝗃𝗲𝗏 and give the value on the right as 1. Click on Run, and when the enemy ship touches the space hero, yes, the 𝗙𝗃𝗲𝗏 image can be seen on the screen. Perfect. We have added so many features to the game, but I think there's something still missing. In some games, we can see an intro button, and only if we click on the play button, the game will start. I think that's an awesome idea. Let's add a play button to the game screen. For that, click on Animation. Click on the plus sign to the left and choose Draw Your Own. Now open a new tab and search for play button images. Click on Images and let's select the one which would suit the background. I like this one. So click on the image, right click on it and choose the Copy Image option. Now come back to the Code.org tab. Click on the Move tool and paste the image on the screen using Ctrl+V. Resize the image to 400 by 480. Click on Import, then on OK and close the pop-up. To remove the background, take the Paint All Pixels of the same color tool and click on the color palette. Choose the transparent background and then click on the background of the play button. Yes, the background is now removed. To fill the color on the center of the play button, choose the Paint Bucket tool, click on the color palette and then choose the color white. Now click on the center of the image. Rename the sprite to Play Button. Now it's time to introduce the play button to the game screen. For that, go to Code. From sprites, take the variable sprite block and attach it to the workspace. rename the sprite to play button. Now take the sprite.set animation block and attach it below the variable play button block. Rename the sprite to play button, and on the right, click on the drop down and choose play button. Click on run, and oh, the play button looks huge. To make it smaller, take the sprite.scale block and attach it below the play button.set animation block. Rename the sprite to play button and give the value on the right as 0.2. Great! Even if the play button is there, the game screen can be seen in the background. We have to remove it so that the game screen would be a surprise. We should be taken to the game screen only when the play button is clicked. For that, from sprites, take the sprite.visible block and attach it below the play button.scale block. Rename the sprite to 𝗙𝗴𝗲 and give the value on the right as 0. Add one more sprite.visible block and attach it below the 𝗙𝗴𝗲.visible block. Rename the sprite to 𝗙𝗰𝗲𝗄 and give the value on the right as 0. Similarly, take the sprite.visible block and attach it below the 𝗙𝗰𝗲𝗄.visible block. Rename the sprite to 𝗙𝗰𝗲𝗄 and give the value on the right as 0. Once more, take the sprite.visible block and attach it below the 𝗙𝗰𝗲𝗄.visible block. Rename the sprite to 𝗙𝗰𝗲𝗄 and give the value on the right as 0. Cool. Click on run, and yes, the characters of the game cannot be seen on the intro screen. Now, if we click on the play button, then the game should start, right? Excited to know how it is? Come on! For that, go to Controls, take the if conditional statement and attach it inside the function draw block. Now go to World, take the mouse pressed over block and attach it inside the if conditional statement. Rename the sprite to play button. Once we click on the play button, the sprite should appear and the game should start. For that, go to Sprites, take the sprite.visible block and turn on the visibility of the sprites. Rename the sprite to 𝗙𝗴𝗲𝗄 and give the value on the right as 1. Similarly, take another sprite.visible block and attach it under the 𝗙𝗴𝗲𝗄.visible block. Rename the sprite to 𝗙𝗰𝗲𝗄 and give the value on the right as 1. Now take the next sprite.visible block and attach it under the 𝗙𝗰𝗲𝗄.visible block. Rename the sprite to 𝗙𝗰𝗲𝗄 and give the value on the right as 1. Finally, take the last sprite.visible block and attach it under the 𝗙𝗰𝗲𝗄.visible block. Rename the sprite to 𝗙𝗰𝗲𝗄 and give the value on the right as 1. The sprite should also start to move when we click on the play button. For that, take the 𝗙𝗰𝗲𝗄𝗏 block and attach it inside the if mouse pressed over block. Now take the 𝗙𝗰𝗲𝗄.velocity_y block and attach it inside the if mouse pressed over block. And finally, take the 𝗙𝗰𝗲𝗄_velocity_y block and place it inside the if mouse pressed over block. Perfect! Click on run, and the play button is still on the screen even after the game has started. But the play button should disappear when we click on it. So take the sprite.visible block and attach it inside the if mouse pressed over play button block. Rename the sprite to play button and give the value on the right as 0. Run the code and ta-da! Our game is all set. And with that, we have come to the end of our game. But before we wind up, let's have a recap. We started by adding the background, Space Hero and the first enemy ship to the game. Then we animated the spaceships and then added some movements to them. We further proceeded to convert the enemy spaceship to an enemy troop. We added 2 more spaceships and added movements to the second and third enemy ship. Now that we have an enemy troop, we added a weapon for the Space Hero, bullets. We coded the bullets in such a manner that when we click on the space bar, the bullets will be fired up. If the enemy ships get hit by the bullets, then the enemy ships will be destroyed. And if the Space Hero touches the enemy ship, then all the sprites will be destroyed. And finally, we added a scoreboard to know how many enemy ships got killed by the bullets. We also added a game over image to be shown when the Space Hero touches the enemy ship. Then, we introduced a play button which will direct us to the game screen when we click on it. Great! And with that, we have completed our Space Wars game. Hope you enjoyed making this game with me. I couldn't have done this without your help. Hey, I think you should make a similar game by yourself. You can use a background and a set of characters of your choice. I'll see you again with another interesting topic. Until then, bye my friend.